Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Jaden Kellen, who is much better known as Monkaman. He's just released his newest record called Apathetic Intentions, and I'm really looking forward to talking to him all about it. Jaden, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. It's it's an honor.
Yeah, man, you're super welcome. What's going on in your world? What part of the world are you in right now?
So I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah, there's not a lot of artists that I know from here. Uh, I have a lot of friends like in Ontario that do music, but honestly, no one really here in the scene. So I'm trying to kind of build up the reputation and
Sweet.
get more people into music here.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, man. I have never been. I've definitely wanted to visit. So,
yeah,
you just got to build up the music scene yourself and make it
yeah,
happen. So that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, obviously, I want to talk to you about this record here. It's called Apathetic Intentions, and I'll just kick it off. Like it is a handful. You've got a lot going on in this record. It is
Yeah,
dense and it is certainly unique. The
yeah,
first thing that I want to know about is there are so many different like genre influences. Like
yeah,
there's bits of metal, there's bits of hip hop, there's like spoken word.
yeah.
Uh, tell me all about it. Let's get the background going.
So this album actually got kicked off when I got my first MIDI board
Okay.
because yeah, so up until this point, I always just kind of use like free non-copyrighted beats off YouTube. So this is my
Sure.
first self-produced one. And honestly, in the last year or so, I really started to get influenced by pop punk and a little bit of metal. My favorite band is A Day to Remember.
Okay, got it. I could
Yeah,
feel that influence in there for sure.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
really wanted to do something with that, and it was the first song that I made was Packing Your Bags, and that kind of set the tone for the whole album,
Okay.
where I created that intro with the guitar, and I was like, okay, I definitely want to explore different ways I could incorporate it. I wanted some of the heavy metal vocals.
Mhm.
They're not the cleanest, like they're the first time I've ever done it.
Okay.
So I wanted to. It was the whole album. I wanted to make this thing for over a year, uh, because I had a really crappy grade 12 experience with the breakup. So
Sure.
that's what this whole album is about.
Okay.
And I had to wait until, because there was a lot of drama
Hmm.
uh, circling that. So I wanted to wait until I was out of that situation because I graduated last year. So I wanted to wait until I was out of that and I moved on so I could truly reflect on it kind of in a non-biased way.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a very dark period. So I knew that I wanted this album for the most part to be very dark and have those really gritty guitar riffs.
Yeah.
Um, for example, like the darkest one is like Forsaken Tattoos.
Hmm.
That one is a great representation of the whole album with the instrumental to that one. So yeah, I wanted to make a really I wanted a metal slash rap thing, which I
It
know like
100% is like
yeah,
whatever you were going for and everything that you've described within like heaviness and it's totally there. So you've
yeah,
accomplished that. I'll say that much.
yeah. And it was interesting because it really changed up how I write my lyrics, how to incorporate my flow with the guitar
Sure.
because it was a little different than typical like hip hop beats.
Hmm.
So I had to kind of change the way I approach it and write it and rhyme the cadence and all of that. And how can I also rap with more heavy vocals instead of more of a natural cadence, you know? So
Yeah. And you had
Yeah,
mentioned that this is your first self-produced album, and it's something
yeah.
that I wanted to talk about as well. So first off, congrats on making that work. I know that
Thank you.
production is a whole nother beast of,
Yeah,
of figuring that
yeah,
out. So
yeah.
it's sort of a two-part question. First, how long did it take you to make this from start to finish? And then how long did it take you to figure out how to like produce an album? That's got to be tough.
Um, so how long? I started about the beginning of March.
Hmm.
So that's 5 months. One, two, three, four, four. That's about 4 months.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah. And that 4 months was the funny thing about that. So I'll answer the second part before I go into this.
Sure.
I so packing your bags is actually the second song I ever made because of course I was messing around with it and I made this one song. Like I'm probably never gonna do anything with it because it's bad, but it was me figuring out how it works and all that.
It's okay.
So yeah, it's really funny. It's great to look at the progress. It's like
Hmm.
I actually learned a lot in the few months. Um, so it was a challenge because I use Ableton Live,
Okay.
and I can't lie, it is like one of the most intimidating things ever.
Oh, 100%. And you're not the first person to say that. It's like learning
Yeah,
another language. Like
exactly.
you could go the garage band route, and I know that that's a little simpler, but
Yeah,
realistically, if you're making an album, you want all those different elements and little production effects to go into it.
yeah,
So, yeah, you might as well go big and
yeah,
learn it for the future. You know what I mean? Because if you're
yeah,
going to keep making music, you want to have, something reliable like that that's going to evolve your sound.
yeah. No, I learned. I did. It's so crazy because, like I said, it was intimidating, but
Yeah.
I actually learned quite a lot from it and new techniques that I'm gonna apply to like my next album, future songs. So yeah, because when I first opened the program, it was like, where do I even start? I don't even know how to
Yeah.
record. It's
Right,
like,
right. Oh, I'm sure. So I'm assuming it was just a series of like YouTube videos and
yeah,
forums. Yeah, I don't blame you.
yeah, yeah. So, um, um, and talking about the process of making it, it was a lot of since like first produced, a lot of redoing things and making things work because I'm like a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have OCD. So it was like the smallest things. If there was like the smallest thing that I didn't like, and it required to like kind of rebuild the whole song, I would do it because it's like
Hey, it's your
I
music. You're putting your
yeah
name on it, so it's got to be good.
yes. So I spent countless hours and nights. Like I used I used to go to bed around like 1 a.m.
Hmm.
But ever since I started making the album, and I kind of have to break this habit, I go to bed at like 4 now
Oh, jeez.
because I would get home from work
Hmm.
around like 10 o'clock, and it would just be like working on the same song and only like one little bit, this constant cycle
Sure.
of retrying stuff for like 5 hours. I'm like, oh, it's 4 in the morning and I have work in like a few hours.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
yeah, it was a lot of work because also there's a lot of like um frustrations with like why is this not working? Like when I do this, why did you delete half the project, you
oh
know?
yeah.
So it's like a lot of Reddit and
Oh, I'm
forums looking
sure.
out.
Yeah, I know Ableton
Yeah,
has a pretty active Reddit community when it comes
yeah,
to that sort of thing. And it helps
yeah,
because like there are so many people just like you who are just trying to make music and it's frustrating because you hear it
yeah,
in your head. You're like, how do I communicate that to a computer program?
exactly.
But
Yeah,
I mean, from the sounds of it, you figured it out. It's obviously been a
yeah,
lot of hard work. You can tell that. It's like I said, it's dense, it's unique, and it's certainly creative.
yeah.
What I want to know though is, not planning too far into the future, but do you have an idea for a follow up? You've got a lot of ideas out on this record. Have you been working on
Yeah.
anything else for the future?
Actually, it's funny you asked that because my next album is so Apathetic Intentions was really the venting about that whole experience.
Sure.
Um, and it's really funny because this next one isn't going to be as dark at all.
Okay.
I have like this concept album that I'm working on because it's based on this dream I had like a month ago. It was like the most
Nice.
vivid dream I ever had.
Sure,
So I'm
sure.
basing this album around that, and it's gonna be a concept album. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot lighter
Okay.
than this one. Yeah.
That's all right. Hey man, you know what? I say you don't wanna make one kind of sound, especially
Yeah.
with a program like that where you can pretty much do anything. And then it also
Yeah.
shows off your talents as an artist, where
Yeah.
you don't just have to go in the heavier route. You can make something maybe a little brighter and lighter and whatever you want.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
it's cool that you're gonna be looking to experiment, which is
Yeah.
fun.
And I
So
got a
yeah, no, go for it, go for it.
sorry.
No, no,
I
no,
got
don't be sorry, don't be sorry.
in the middle of this album, I got a real guitar and I started learning guitar.
Oh, awesome.
And it was funny because like obviously this album has a distinct sound. So I
Mhm,
got the real guitar like beginning of May.
mhm.
So I was still kind of finalizing stuff and working on the tracks, and I was thinking of incorporating the guitar, but I realized that it has such that distinct sound with electronic or like the computer guitars
Mhm.
instead of incorporating a real one. So I was like, I'll save that for the future
Yeah.
because I honestly loved this unique sound. Like from now on, for like the future of my discography, Apathetic Intentions will always have that distinct sound. Because I
Oh
know the
yeah.
name of the guitar program I used. It was like Swagger something
Uh,
or Stagger. Yeah, yeah. So no, this album will have a distinct sound for everything I release in the future. I like to
sweet.
always have my albums like if you hear the instrumental or the kind of instrument in it,
Mhm.
you can kind of identify which album of mine that's gonna be.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool. So considering that, I mean, specifically on this album, and I guess this upcoming one as well, like I said, there's so many influences from different genres, past, present, maybe some future sounds too. But
Yeah.
who do you listen to and who inspired its creation?
So my favorite artist of all time is Eminem.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so he is the one that really sparked this whole music career.
Hmm.
That's why I've been writing. I listen to his music, and whenever he releases a new album, it gives me like new ideas of like, oh, okay, so that's possible. That
Yeah,
kind of flow is possible, and it's always like I look up to him, but it's like also a healthy rivalry that
of
when he
course.
just keeps when he keeps making better music, it's like it inspires me to write something even better. It's
Right.
like how can I best my last work? How can
Yeah.
I incorporate this wordplay, the structure of the rhyme? My favorite thing of his, as my biggest inspiration, is rhyming whole sentences.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, he's the king of
yeah,
that for
exactly,
sure.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I have always been fascinated with that as a kid. Is how he does that. So in my music, sometimes I like to rhyme sentences.
Hmm.
And it sounds like sometimes, it takes some work to tweak it, but when it works, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like the last line of the second verse, I'll pop another pill.
Hmm.
It's like I got a lot of will to fall to decay. I'll pop another pill and call it a day.
Yeah.
It's it's those kind of lines where it's just
It's so
those are my
smooth.
favorite. Yeah,
I agree. He really
yeah,
is a genius. And yeah,
yeah,
even later in his career at this point, it's still, solid work.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And like him bending words
Oh yeah.
that like shouldn't rhyme. That's also
Right.
another
Oh, he's also the
fascination.
king of that. That is for
Yeah,
sure. That's too
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Oh
And
man.
then after Eminem, it was this is he's been a favorite since I was like 8. So
Mhm.
the newest one is obviously A Day to Remember.
Sure.
Um, that's where the metal vibes come
Right.
from. is I was like, I always listen to them, and they always have songs like that you could scream and sing along with, and that's what I was trying. Like that's kind of where my footing was.
Okay.
The foundation for this is like I want, since this is a dark album and there was a lot of angst and hardship through that time, I wanted something where it's like a little more vicious than rap and hip hop. That's like
Mhm.
you could do those metal vocals, get out that frustration, yell
Yeah,
into the mic with like the hard guitar in the background. So yeah, A Day to Remember inspired that part, but for the most part, my lyricism is really all thanks to Eminem.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's for sure like an aggressive sound, but it feels like there's probably a weight off your shoulders
Oh yeah,
now that not only writing lyrics, but just the so much hard work goes into creating a full
yeah,
album. You know, whether it's talking
yeah,
to someone about an isolated, like, oh, I just put out one single, or like a
oh yeah,
cohesive piece of work, like it's not a
yeah.
joke. Like it's not just writing an album, putting it out. It's all the before, after, and future stuff. So
Yeah, it's obviously this was the hardest. I've done like, mixtapes and small things I post on YouTube, like All or Nothing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those honestly like All or Nothing took a month. And usually my albums only took like a few weeks. So
Mhm.
this one, yeah, it's the longest album I've ever had to work on, the most work I put into it. But
Totally.
it is honestly so refreshing that it was like I could put this on Spotify, I could copyright it. Like it
Sure.
is it is my work, and that
Oh
was
yeah.
is such a great feeling.
So for you, what is the most rewarding part about being a musician?
That it's a great way and a healthy way of coping with stress in life. It's
Totally.
like I have developed that habit, which I'm really happy for, that whenever something happens, it's like the first thing I want to do is write a song.
That's awesome.
Um,
It's a way to like
because
escape, I'm assuming.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like it feels so it's a weight off your shoulders after
Uh-huh.
you record the song and you're done with it. Because like honestly, I mean, as any musician, I have thousands of songs that I've uh, written but haven't recorded, or I've
Uh-huh.
recorded them but didn't master them, and they're just sitting on like a hard drive.
Sure.
So like it's like the tip of the iceberg that like I actually put out, but it's like even though I don't put it out, it is still very refreshing. So I would say it's just getting stuff off my shoulders. Like
That's
honestly,
awesome.
during that time, even though I tried to write an album but it didn't really work out, during that time of the breakup and the high school thing, if it wasn't for music, I don't know how I would have got through that, because like I was
Yeah,
writing every day throughout that.
that's awesome.
So yeah,
Seriously though, it's such a stress release, and not even just making music in general, but having some sort of coping mechanism to get through
yeah,
and like escape from the crap. It's
yeah,
it's nice that, I mean, music is such an open world and there's no right answers or wrong answers. And even
yeah,
learning a program like Ableton is such an ordeal and such a big
yeah,
thing. It's like like I
yeah,
said, you can have all these ideas in your head, you can know what you want, but the whole learning process of making it work is it's one of the toughest things. So another like
yeah,
massive congratulations to you on even accomplishing that, because it's not an
yeah,
easy task. And I don't think people understand that.
yeah. No,
They're just
it's
like make more music, but it's not like
exactly,
it's not that's not it. So
yeah. And
yeah,
then you get
man.
like the people that like they're like, yeah, like the music is trash, and it's
Right.
like they like, and because I've had people say that like at school, and I
Sure.
know for a fact they don't make music. It's like
They have no idea what they're talking about. They
yeah,
don't.
and like this one like guy I watch on YouTube, John Campia,
Hmm.
that talks about movies. He said something which I think also applies to music. And it really stuck with me for several years. And it's that like no director goes into a film planning to make a bad film. Like it is
No.
hard to make a good movie. And I think it's the same with music.
A hundred
Nobody
percent.
goes in to make a bad song. Like it is hard to make something that's like
Right.
universally acclaimed. It's yeah,
Listen, and no one just starts using, I know I keep talking about like the program itself, but ultimately that's
yeah,
where the music gets made.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is like the music that people at school or anyone is listening to, think about the literal millions of dollars that are being spent on producers and promotion and mixing and
yeah,
mastering, and like they're only hearing the top 0.01% of like highly produced music. You're one
yeah,
person. You should be proud
yeah,
that you even put in the effort to do it,
yeah,
and that's all that matters. Also,
yeah,
you're so young, dude. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
like this is, your first like major thing. There's going to be more, and you're going to learn from your either your past mistakes. You're going to keep learning techniques. Like, I'm sorry, we
yeah,
just need to shut up because that's just not okay.
yeah,
It's not all right. Um,
yeah.
yeah, well, I've only got a couple more for you, but I
Okay.
want to know. So, considering that we're a music blog and we're always
Yeah,
recommending independent artists, I want to know, besides maybe like the mainstream people like Eminem or A Day to Remember, is there
yeah.
anyone, maybe like a local band or a friend that's making music that you want to shout out?
Honestly, so we haven't talked for a while, but we did a song on his SoundCloud. It's Jaded Dry, and Dry
Okay,
is DRI.
all right,
He's a great artist. We did a few songs, we talked. He's honestly an awesome guy. He's from Texas, so we met online, obviously. We're far apart, but
that's all right,
um
man. We've never been more connected than now.
exactly. He's a great artist.
Hmm.
So honestly, his SoundCloud, I would highly recommend to check
Cool.
out because he is an extremely talented artist. And he honestly, we really worked together when I was in grade 12. Um, and he was also, besides like obviously Eminem, he was like a smaller influence that kind of helped me develop my writing, my
Okay,
songwriting. And yeah, he pushed me to be even better, work on it.
that's a good
So
friend
yeah,
right there. You can learn
yeah,
from him.
and
He can learn from you. That's nice.
yeah, no, he's awesome. I'd 100% shout him out.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Very cool.
yeah,
All right, man. So my last question for you here is it's more of like an introduction to the people that are going to find your music for the first time or discover you from
okay,
this. What is
yeah.
an opening welcome that you might introduce them?
Openly welcome. Um, I make music for those that need to escape reality because I've dealt with a lot of stuff in my life that it's like not family wise, just like school dynamics, cliques, bullying. I know
Yeah,
how like a lot of that feels. So I want to make my music for people that want to find an escape. Uh, I make like sometimes funny songs, like All or Nothing was kind of more
sure.
lighthearted. I want to make stuff that like gets people to laugh. I want to recapture what my favorite artists do because what they do is they make me happy when I'm down. They give me hope. They make me feel like I'm not alone, and I really wish to do that too.
Jaden, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic answer and even better album, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So for everyone else out there, by the time this comes out, Apathetic Intentions will be out. Give it a listen, listen to the rest of his music, and go in with an open mind because it is seriously some experimental, creative, innovative music. Uh, Jaden, thank you so much again. And I didn't comment it, but I absolutely love your background. It's so
Thank you. Yeah.
awesome. I
I just
need
created
that.
this. Yeah, I just created this when I got the MIDI board. So it's kind of
Oh,
I call it
very
Monka
cool.
Studios.
That's
So
awesome. I love
yeah.
that. Cool, man. Well,
Yeah.
I sincerely hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you
And
too.
we'll talk soon. Thank you so much again for coming
Yeah.
on. I really appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for having me.
You're welcome, man. Take care. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
you too.
See
See
ya.
ya.